Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader. You are tuning in to the Fierce Factor podcast. It's Kaylee Lindholm here, and welcome to episode 97. Today, I'm going to share with you entrepreneurship lessons that I learned while I was an employee. All right, you see, when I was a rep, I think I always knew I would own a business someday. And many of you listening are future or budding entrepreneurs or have thought about a side hustle. And I remember when I first started working in sales for Bayer Healthcare, my boss and I were talking about the gaps there were for physicians who were so passionate about patient care that they often neglected their businesses. And my ability to provide insights that would fill these business gaps would be a core value or an asset that I could bring to the table regardless of the products or services I sold. And as I advanced in my corporate career, it wasn't long before I was earning more money than many of my MD clients. And listen, I was in my 20s, and we are talking about MDs who had some umpteen additional years of education and experience. But here's the thing, their businesses were often generating revenue in the millions, sometimes multiple millions. But in some cases, their business models did not provide sufficient profits to allow them to earn in the millions. And that's what I want to address today. Remember, being $1 million business owner and $1 million earner are two completely different things. And now, as a business owner myself, I routinely find myself leaning into lessons, into old habits and tactics that in fact contributed to my success back in the day as a sales rep and manager in corporate America. And those lessons have helped me thrive. So before I dive into today's episode, I want to announce a couple cool things that we have coming up over the next few weeks in the month of March. So number one, we will be certifying 15, yes, I'm so excited, woohoo, aesthetic injectors, MDs, PAs, and MPs on our Confidence to Scale business growth framework. If you are interested in learning more about scaling your business in a way that allows you to build your cash reserves without investing more time into your business, head to klcconsultants.com/scale to learn more about how to register for our upcoming next 6-week program. All right, announcement number 2, our last masterclass was a big hit. It was fully booked, and it was so popular that we have added another session of Interview Like a Vixen. So this is a 2-day crash course that teaches you how to find your next mini-me, expand your pool of qualified candidates, identify red flags in the hiring process, and on day 2, we conduct a live role play where you can use our hiring questions rubric that we provide you in this program and actually evaluate in real time the good, bad, and the ugly of the interview process. So this is where I'll actually be interviewing someone and you can grade me. It's a lot of fun. So this takes place again on March 9th and 10th in the late afternoon. And you can get on the wait list for this for free at klcconsultants.com/interview boss. And we do limit the participation on this one so we can keep it interactive and high touch. So if you think you're interested, be sure to get on the list now. And the final announcement for all my rock star industry reps and managers out there, we will be hosting a first of its kind industry coach mastermind on March 17th. So this is really going to be an open coaching session, a collaboration session for industry reps, managers, key account managers, consumable reps, or really support teams who spend a lot of time working with practices on the business side of things. And we're going to have a meet and greet and talk about got resources and coaching tools for you to help your practices increase their business and marketing acumen, their leadership and team building skills, and to put them in really position to drive stronger utilization of your products. And also, help you become a trusted advisor to them on the business side. So you can sign up to get the link to join. There's actually no application required. It's free and it's open to all who fit this audience. So you can sign up at klcconsultants.com/industry coach. And again, there's no application. You just go to the link and sign up, and we send you a calendar invite. So hope to see you there. Okay. So let's dive into today's session. So I'd like to start by saying that no matter what you do for a living or where you are in the stage of your career, of your growth path, there are always skills to be learned and mastered that can make you stronger and smarter. And this is what I call personal investment. It's an evaluation of your strengths and weaknesses, and it's developing those key internal assets that will make you better at any job, including the job of owning your own business. And I'll be honest, I probably didn't fully appreciate these certain skills or really habits that I'm going to share with you today until I realized how valuable they were in business and life. Probably starting, my own business. And as a business owner who is listening to this, you actually have a lot to learn from a few of your reps who embody these traits. And I'll say probably not much to learn from some of the others, I realize. But let me make a disclaimer here to say that most industry reps, they have not owned their own business, nor have they had, to build budgets and balance profitability of an entire organization. And most of them are primarily focused on making sure you are successful at selling their products. So the best way to use this episode is as a tool for identifying who to listen to, right? Who to work with, how to ask the right questions, learning the right systems, and really leveraging your resources, including your industry, in a way that is in best alignment with your own brand. And so today I want to share with you 5 key lessons, okay, that I learned really as I was climbing the corporate ladder. Okay, lesson number 1, let's dive in here. Don't become too reliant on certain people. So as a corporate sales manager, if someone was not fulfilling the expectations of their role, be it tangible results or behavioral expectations, they would be put on a performance improvement plan. And if they did not make significant improvements, they would be eliminated. And as businesses scale, they must become more and more reliant on the systems within their total business ecosystem to thrive. Successful businesses operate more like, I like to think of it like a sports team, a coach, an offense, defense, special teams, right? They all stay in their lane, and it requires everyone to pull their weight. Yet, so often I see small business owners create infrastructure around the people they have on the team instead of the other way around. So maybe for you, you have one really strong employee that you continue to give additional responsibility to because others are lacking. Sound familiar? Or maybe you're making future plans around the people you have because you're not confident in your ability to find someone who can create leverage you need to make your big idea a reality. So take this lesson from your partners in corporate America, create a plan, get clear on who you need, find the right people to execute, and hold them accountable to those expectations. All right, leader, lesson number 2 is to focus on recurring revenue. So if you're a loyal Fierce Factor listener, you've heard me talk about this on repeat. Have you ever noticed when you purchase a device, you make a lease payment every single month like clockwork? Or when you purchase skincare products, you invest in thousands at a time and then need to sell through those products? Have you noticed that if you don't maintain a certain purchase volume of your neurotoxins, you get bumped in loyalty? Or maybe you have a subscription model for your EMR or another technology. This is called the power of the hook, and it is the space most companies in our industry are already living in. It's predictable recurring revenue that allows them to forecast sales and plan for the future. What I learned in corporate was that I could predict exactly what my sales would be for the quarter because I had clients locked into commitments to invest with me. I could budget how I spent my marketing dollars, where and when to hire people, and how much time to spend with who, because I could anticipate where my sales would come from. So this is a key business strategy for you as a practice owner who is looking to scale or sell your business. Investors will be looking for evidence of future profits, client loyalty, and simplicity. You can build recurring revenue into your retail product lines, your membership programs, your consultations, you name it. But there is so much opportunity when you are clear on your brand promise and you have a very strategic and focused business model. My business personally is built on recurring revenue, so I can predict exactly how much my company will make this year and plan my investments accordingly. So this is a beautiful lesson that I learned from my time in corporate. Lesson number 3 is manage your outputs by the 80-20 principle. So at one point in my career, I was a sales director for half of the United States with 15 people reporting to me. We had thousands of prospective clients and hundreds of already paying customers. So can you imagine trying to manage all that business? There's no way I could be with every single rep or meet every single customer. I had to apply the 80-20 rule and be freakishly productive of my time. So if you haven't tuned into episode 47, head back and listen to it. It's called Eliminate Fire Drills in Your Business with this strategy. Hint, the strategy is the one we're talking about right now. Go back and listen to that to learn more about the Pareto principle, how it works, and how the power of focus will literally change your life. So I want you to think about your reps, right? They have probably 100 clients in their territory. How often do they visit you? This is not an accident. The 80-20 rule tells us that 80% of inputs will come from 20% of outputs. So this applies to literally everything in life. So your rep decides how often to call on you based on how much impact you will have for their business. This was the same methodology I learned and implemented as a sales director and is a principle I live by in my life now. In fact, I just did an exercise this morning listing out all of my to-do list and selecting only 20% of the list to tackle, which took 80% of the most meaningful activity off of my plate. When I hear from clients that are running out of time, they're in too deep, there isn't enough time in the day, this is a code red call to action to become more discerning about where time is actually being spent. If you know that 20% of your clients are responsible for 80% of your revenue, are you spending your time with them or with everyone else? If you know that 20% of your offers are producing 80% of your income, are you promoting those offers or are you promoting everything? Learn the 80-20 rule and become disciplined about how you spend your time and resources. Lesson number 4 is to know when to walk away. Now, this was a big lesson that absolutely took experience and confidence to implement when I was a sales rep. I'll never forget back when I was selling lasers, I had so many doctors who would tell me, come back next month, or gosh, I would love to invest in that device. But then when we got to the point of purchase, they would get cold feet and back out. And I noticed that the most experienced and successful sales reps had smaller pipelines, but higher conversion rates, meaning we would report the deals that we were planning on closing that quarter, and I would maybe commit 16 and close 4 of them, whereas a more tenured rep would commit 8 and close 6. Why? This is exactly why. They know when to walk away. It's all about recognizing signs early on and listening to your gut. And as I became more established in my role, I would be able to pick up on red flags very quickly, like, I need to talk to my husband and other such phrases, right? And so I could choose to spend my time elsewhere. And this is a lesson I have brought into business ownership, and I encourage you to adopt as a practice owner. Do you recognize the signs from patients when you just know they're not going to be happy or committed to your program. Maybe they're constantly late, they're pushing boundaries with you or complaining about this or that. Maybe you noticed that a patient who is already directing the conversation and the consultation like they're the provider, The signs may be different for you, but you know what they are. And these types of patients and employees, quite frankly, will be a suck on your resources. Remember the 80-20 rule? Recognize the signs early and walk away, sister. All right. And finally, lesson number 5, combine work and pleasure, right? People always say, not to combine work and pleasure. I disagree. Salespeople are always on. Have you ever walked into an exhibit hall at a conference and noticed there is more assertive energy in that room than in any line at Disneyland? I was absolutely one of those eager and enthusiastic sales professionals who was ready to wow. And the good thing about that is I was always ready, meaning put me in any room and I know that anyone around me could be a prospective client, could be a potential referral source, a brand ambassador, you name it. Yet I've worked with physicians who leave their office and they shut down when they're out to dinner or having cocktails on the weekend. They separate their work from their personal lives and they don't want to be bothered outside the office. No, I'm not suggesting that you be on, working all the time or be open to nagging messages or questions that should be handled in a consultative setting. We're not bending boundaries here. What I'm talking about is recognizing that if you own a brick and mortar business is all around you. The barista at your local coffee shop, the stylist at Nordstrom, the restaurant manager down the street. Be open to sharing who you are and what your mission is with the local community. Network, be a presence, smile, and socialize. People will recognize that you are a pleasure to be around outside the office, and this will undoubtedly translate into a positive reputation in your community. So lesson 5, combine work and pleasure. All right, leader, if you listen to this podcast, I am pretty confident that you are a high growth badass and you are in the company of a cohort of people who are building a business ecosystem that is making a ridiculous impact in the world. So I hope these lessons that I have learned during my time in corporate America can really help guide you, your thoughts and your actions around how you access and insource your own wisdom. And P.S., the things the reps are teaching you, they might not be the things they're saying, but the things that they're doing. You have the answers and insights right within you. And when you invest in your internal assets, like your personal growth leader, you are destined for success. I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Fierce Factor. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure you subscribe so you can automatically get new shows every week. I'd also love it if you left us a review. And come join the conversation online. If you're an aesthetic industry owner, operator, or leader, please join my free Facebook group, The Tribe of Fierce Aesthetic Leaders, a community of ambitious, purpose-driven professionals who collaborate and share best practices for growth in business and life. I'm honored you tuned in.